Hello children and young people, thank you for joining me today. I am in my festive jumper. Let me show you that little reindeer. I actually found this jumper in the street and I washed it and it's massive, but I've turned it into a Christmas dress. So there we go, a little bit of creativity for you, which leads me wonderfully into today's topic. I'm going to be talking to you about creatively problem solving. This is one of my favourite subjects to talk about, and I have done other videos and podcasts and things about this before, but I don't think I've done this specifically for children and young people. So I'm quite excited to share this with you today. So if you would like to know how to solve problems in a very creative way, then just keep on watching. So I've got 4 tips I'm going to share with you today, but let me tell you what inspired me, aside from the jumper, to share this particular subject area with you today. I was watching a TV show, and I don't know about you, but I quite like to watch TV shows about crime. I'm not a criminal, I don't plan to be, but I just like it. And I think for me it's because I like finding out about how those people think. I find it interesting. Anyway, there was a scene where there were some psychologists who were helping the police to solve a big crime. And they were getting in a real muddle with it. Like, they were just really overwhelmed. And it turned out that they had too much evidence because they were getting information coming in from all over the place. But actually the psychologists, what they're really good at is just looking at the behaviour and the character of the criminal. And they had all of this other evidence that they'd been presented with, and it was just really muddying the waters. It was making it very difficult for them to see clearly because there was just way too much going on. And so one of the actors in the show said something to the effect of, let's just get everything out of the way and focus on what we know about the person, because that's what we're good at. Now, sometimes when we're in a real life problem solving situation, it's really difficult to do the problem solving because we are just overloaded with too much information. So from that TV show that I watched, my very first tip to you today is get rid of the stuff that you don't need. Like, get rid of the information that you don't need in that moment, or at least organize it in a way that you are just taking into consideration one thing at a time, or a small chunk of things at a time, but not everything that there is for you to know about. Because if you have everything in the whole world to try and sort through and organise, that is going to be overwhelming, and it is not going to help you with your problem solving activity. Now, this could be applied to, like, cleaning your room. You know, if your room is an absolute hellhole, like a complete tip, then think about one corner of it. You know, just one space within that room. If you can just focus on one corner or your desk, you know, just one zone at a time, it's much easier for your brain to get on side with solving the problem and giving you the motivation to be able to tidy your room. And that works with everything else in life as well. So the key thing is, like, break it down, take it a chunk at a time. Don't overload yourself with too much information. Okay, so my second tip is an attitudinal shift. By this, I mean that you change the way in which you are thinking in that moment. It's really difficult to get into a positive problem-solving mindset if you are in a bad mood. Trust me. I know. I've been in a head funk for about 3 days, and it's made it really difficult to crack on and do the work that I need to do. And it's because every time I attempted to do it, there was this grumpy little voice in my head that gave me all of the reasons why it was going to be unsuccessful. There's no point in attempting to do things if you're in a bad headspace. So you have to shift your attitude to a different place first. Now, it might be that you need a reset because you've not had enough sleep. It might be that you need a reset because you have not spent enough time in nature. It might be that you need to spend some time with friends. Or it might be that you just need to have a quiet word with yourself, listen to some nice music, do a little bit of a stretch or some yoga or meditate or something like that, that just helps you to change the frame that your mind is in at that moment in time. And then think about what it is that you need to be creatively problem solving. But you're going to need to get rid of the negativity before you do that. There are actual studies that show that people's brains work better and are more resourceful when they're in either a positive or a neutral mental state. And by neutral, I just mean like meh, like you're not in a good mood, you're not in a bad one. But if you're in a bad mood, it will hold you back from being able to think clearly, and certainly from being able to be as creative as you could be as you solve your problems. The third thing is to put the problem somewhere else. I don't mean like literally give the problem to somebody else so that they can deal with it, although that could, to be fair, be a fairly decent solution. But I mean, put the problem in a different scenario, like just in your mind. I mean, if you can do it in reality, maybe do that too. But in your mind, think about that problem in a different situation, because that can really help get your creativity around problem solving like up and running in a brilliant way. So let's say that you are having a problem with doing your Latin homework. I'm just plucking things from the air here. Let's say you have a problem doing your Latin homework. Is that problem the same? Does it still seem the same problem if you are doing it in a different room in your house? Does it still seem the same problem if you're doing it in the library, where maybe you've got access to some quite useful resources that could help you? Does it still seem like the same problem if you do the problem at homework club? Does it still seem like the same problem if you do the homework with someone who's really good at Latin? Does it still seem like the same problem if you do the homework in Italy? I don't know, where did Latin come from? I'm saying Italy. I might be wrong on that one. But the point being that if you move your problem to a different physical location, there might be places where actually some of the solutions might be a bit easier to come by. And it might actually help you start finding a way forward in solving the problem. And finally, the final solution is that sometimes when we are creatively problem solving, the thing you need to do to be able to get to the solution is walk away. You know that thing where you like need to remember someone's name, or where you've left your front door key and you cannot remember. And the more you try and think of it, the more difficult it is for your brain to actually do the remembering. And then you end up getting really frustrated with yourself. And it's a bit like trying to catch soap in the bath, because the more you try and grab it, the more it's like slipping through your fingers every time. You're like, oh, I know what letter it begins with, or I remember what the keys looked like, I saw them on a shiny surface. But the more you try and find it, the harder it is to grasp it. And then as soon as you forget to think about it anymore, as soon as you think about something else, do something else, it's like, ring, and there it is. Like, it pops back into your head, and you're like, that's her name. Hang on, I think my keys are in my denim jacket coat. And then suddenly the answer is there. It's the same with all kinds of problem solving. The answers are most likely to come to you when your brain is relaxed and not under pressure. So sometimes, just like how when you're trying to remember something, you have to stop thinking about it for a minute, sometimes when you're trying to creatively solve a problem, the best way to do that is walk away from it and do something else, and do not let your brain think about it. Like, think about other stuff completely. And in that stepping away from it and freeing yourself from it, your unconscious mind, which is a much more powerful part of your brain anyway, is able to get to work with coming up with the solutions that you're looking for. And those are my 4 tips on how you can creatively solve problems. And that is everything for today. I hope you have found this useful in some way, shape or fashion. But for now, I'm going to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a wonderfully Happy New Year, and I will see you all again in the next video. Bye everyone!